And so the journey begins. And once the journey has begun, that has its own set of qualities in our experience. Perhaps in the beginning we go it alone. We don't have a lot of that acceptance and consensus, around us. It begins a search. And perhaps we immediately cling on to things that have a spiritual quality about them, or a promise of some sort of awakening, the very thing we're experiencing, right? But in the sense of a permanent, heightened, enlightened state. And we cling on to that. Maybe that's what's going on, or maybe something else. And so we're reaching, we're searching. And the possibility is that we ultimately find. And we'll talk more about that. The challenge, though, is that it we are trying to find is not likely where we physically are right then. It's not the people we're with. It's probably not what we're doing. And so the journey to get to it begins. And this is where this mysterious push and pull of the spiritual power becomes our true guide and compass. That pressure that says, don't go there. No, don't do that. No, don't accept that job offer. For whatever you can't, even though it looks great, don't do it. And this really is, now we're coming in touch with really the guiding power of our life, which we have been numb to up until that point. But it's building and growing. And in the beginning, the journey entails a lot of undoing, because we've built a life not in keeping with this spiritual intelligence or with the greater purpose that we're meant to find. And this is a life of commitments and possessions and career and all of that. And it all has to be reconsidered. And so there can be some degree of conflict and discord in that early journey. No doubt.
One thing that I think I've heard people speak about, and it's the vacancy, the sense of, like, not only what am I doing, but where am I going, but also feeling compelled and propelled. And along the way, their experience of there being more no's than yeses. No, not to do that, as Reed was saying, not that job, not that city, not that appointment, not that engagement. And then there's a yes. And so the no's, oddly, can keep us moving. More no's than yeses. More not knowing than knowing. So often I think of this time frame, as a gap, crossing some kind of a gap. You're light-footed without a whole lot in your hands to justify what you're doing. But that's why it's light-footed. And it might discourage you from engaging with a lot of people during this period in your life because you don't have a lot of answers. You're not even given to a lot of exchange and engagement. Sometimes you may find, and this could be why.
And so as our search goes on, we may feel that sense of restraint pulling us back from certain things. I hope so. But maybe not so much. Maybe this awakening activates kind of a bumper crop in this fallow field in which nothing has been planted for so long, and our mind just blossoms. And it's like being at the spiritual exposition. And we're looking for one stall with the thing we need to find, but we're walking around with t-shirts and pens and water bottles and our arms full by the time we end up finding what we're looking for. And we end up finding it and we're like, what's this? And you've got, t-shirts that say all sorts of things and bumper stickers and all of this stuff. Accumulating, because there's a lot of fantasy around the awakening. There's a lot of fantasy about what it really is and what you can achieve with it, and how you can just, hip, skop, and jump all the way to kind of a divine state of awareness at every hour of your life, in every interaction. When really, this awakening initiates a journey of movement. And that is the key, is movement. Okay? You're being taken off the treadmill of life, where there's a lot of motion, but not much movement. And now you're not on the treadmill anymore. And so where will your feet take you? It's very important. And I was thinking today that, some people think that the fulfillment of this journey is in the mind. It's a belief system, it's a philosophy, it's a very refined thought system. Some people think that this journey culminates with the heart. It's all about returning to the heart and to a state of one consciousness or deep awareness. What I think is that the journey is about the feet. It's about the feet, not really, okay, but figuratively, it's about the feet getting you somewhere. It's what will you do after this awakening happens. Because there are many people who have felt this opening come into their lives and are in the same place, entertaining all sorts of new ideas, trying to have an understanding in the same old life, when this is meant to take you to a new life. So this is why movement really is the most important thing here.